going up
MykroWave
in
TV.
East Central. I want to make sure I get that right because Raymond Price is my next member of parliament in East Central St. Catherine. And we have some questions to ask you, Mr. Price.
Go ahead. I hope I have the answers to provide.
Mr. Price, your 5 minutes presentation, and then if you could accommodate us 10 minutes to ask questions after that.
5 minutes, no problem. All right. Well, I understand the gist of the live you're doing, and let me say thanks for allowing us access to your platforms because it's not just yours alone. It's a combination of persons. I would want to say welcome and good afternoon to persons who are watching. And I hope that our conversations will make it not just easier for those of you who will be voting to cast your ballot for the People's National Party, but for those persons who are still undecided. And the latest poll tells us that 14.3% of the national electorate is still undecided. I hope that today's conversations will help you to decide to vote. And of course, when you decide to vote, to put your eggs beside the head. I perhaps want to start there. Why is this symbol of the People's National Party on the ballot the head? Well, it was a deliberate decision taken because the head symbolizes thought. It symbolizes the ability to reason, the ability to think, the ability to innovate and create, the ability to come up with ideas and to implement the ideas. It's not therefore just a buck-up thing. We didn't put our hands in a bag back in 1944 when we had our first election in this country. We decided to communicate to people directly that the use of a ballot should be done after long considered thought about where in the world our country stands, where within our own life we stand, and measure where we are today with where we should be. And that takes me to my second point. The elections on September 3rd are not usual elections. They are elections being held 114 months after Andrew Holness became Prime Minister. 114 months is 9.5 years. And in that time, $17 trillion of our taxpayers' money have been available for various activities across the country. This is not money that Andrew Holness printed. This is not money that Andrew Holness owns. This is money that comes from whenever we go to the supermarket or whether we go to the gas station, the tax we pay, the GCT, the fuel tax, the special consumption tax. If your family abroad send you a couple barrels, it is the custom duties, all of the revenue the island has collected in these 9.5 years is what I am speaking about. The third thing I want to say is the whole concept of value for money. We will hear the government say that this is the most money ever available to any government in the history of independent Jamaica. But it's not money that they earned, it's tax that they have collected. Taxes to fix roads, taxes to build schools, taxes to build hospitals, taxes to create training centers where out of school youth who may not have gotten the classic 9 CSEC and 9 CAPE exams, but still as citizens of Jamaica and human beings, they have families, they have children, they have wives or baby mothers, and they need to take care of them. Plus they have their own needs. And they are unable to meet those needs for one simple reason. That reason is that for the 9.5 years that this administration has been in power, they have failed in many ways to ensure that every Jamaican who wants to connect to a program of progress is able to connect to that program of progress. And I'm going to give some simple examples. Walking in my constituency, and a lady says to me, Mr. Price, when people campaigning, them love talk about the road and the light and the water, and those things are important. She said, you know what I want you to speak about? I want you to speak about the fact that at 42 years old, she is going through advanced stages of menopause. Now, I'm starting there as a man because these are the differences between us in the PNP and those in the Jamaica Labour Party. They will talk about the carpet and how much double-decker highway and how much free toll and all of those things. But we are a population, a national family made up of people. People of different gender, people of different ages, people of different educational background, and people of varying abilities to purchase things. She says, I cannot go to a public clinic in this country and talk to a doctor or nurse about this constant taste of aluminum foil in the back of my throat. She said, I cannot go anywhere in this country and sit down and say, what I see on the internet that can help me be more comfortable as I go through this process is not one of the drugs available on the National Health Fund program. And then she says, as a matter of fact, Mr. Price, I don't qualify for certain things because they're not listening to my doctor. They're looking on my date of birth. So if you only qualify at 40 and I am not yet 40, or if you only qualify at 50 and I'm not yet 50, the entire public system just say, suffer for another 8 years. When you are at the age that we give you this assistance and these benefits, then you come back. I'm leaving from that point in my 5 minutes to speak about another situation. Just yesterday on a walk, a lady explains to me that if she cannot raise the money to go and do a critical surgery in the private hospitals or with a private doctor in a private practice, she will have to wait until October. The earliest date she got at KPH is October 2026. That's not the date for the surgery. That's the date for the government surgeon to review her case to determine when and how she's going to do the surgery. She speaks about the chronic pain she has every night. She speaks about going to Spanish Town Hospital and not getting the medication to help with the chronic pain. Now, the chairman of the campaign for the Jamaica Labour Party is the Minister of Health, who has been the Minister of Health since February 2016. A Minister of Health who has presided over hospitals that don't have diagnostic machines. And let me break it down. Diagnostic machine are the ultrasound and the CT scan or the CAT scan and the different X-ray machine. Some of the machine them for spin round the blood. It's called a centrifuge. You spin round the blood at speeds that you cannot even imagine, and then it separates the different elements within the blood sample to determine whether you have too much protein in your blood or you have too much potassium, and therefore you're having either a liver problem or you're having a kidney problem. Under Christopher Tufton, Jamaica's health sector gone back in the past. In the 1970s, Jamaica, as a small island developing state, had the mortality rates for newborn babies at the level of first world countries. Women taking in to have their children were certain that they would come out alive and their child would come out alive in 99% of the cases that a Jamaican mother had a child in a public hospital in Jamaica. Today, that number is down. We are performing worse, I should say, with infant mortality, with maternal mortality in big 2025 than we were doing in 1975.
Spice?
Go ahead, Kugos.
Yeah, calls will come in. Calls will come in. So let me wrap up my opening statement quickly to take your questions. So the fact is that this election, September 3 to 25, is an election where Jamaicans can literally say, do we want to go back into the past with a Cornwall Regional Hospital, them a fix it from 2016 till now? If them did lick it down and build it back from scratch, it couldn't take so long. The estimates have moved from millions to billions. And Tufton is purchasing equipment, charging the taxpayer $31 million for one dege piece of equipment, when, for example, that same equipment was actually only about $1.8 million. Where did the other $29.2 million go? The buses that have come the other day, when PJ Patterson in the 1990s decided he was going to launch a public bus system, he brought in brand new buses built in Europe. The Europeans came and looked on our roads, looked on our climate, looked on the conditions, and built brand new buses to suit those conditions. Some of the buses that were bought in PJ Patterson's time are still running on the JUTC fleet. And some of the buses that Daryl Vaz bring the other day, well, on must did see the video, because at TikTok, me did see the video when the bus I try going at the primary school and the back of the bus catch on the road and stuck. So our choice in this election, ladies and gentlemen, is not just about who for Clarks green and who for shoes orange and who for dub bad and who for dub badder. Our choice in this election is, do I want my child that will be born in this country to be able to live in this country, earn in this country, grow in this country, and make money in this country? Or do we want, I'll give you another example. In the 9 years that Andrew Holness has been Prime Minister, more Jamaicans take border, go through Rio Grande, and Rio Grande must not be confused with none of the little river them where we have. It's big river. Jamaicans leave our country, go to Belize, sit down for hours and days, sometimes in camps, trek through mountain to get to the US border, to become refugees, to make life. Never before in our history has that happened. These are all elements of hope. So I will stop there and take any questions that people may have.
Can I be the first person? Because I want to go. So, respect to you, Raymond Price. I am cute boss. I don't really have a question, but okay, this is my question really. As we are all Jamaicans and we know that we are all humans, right? We are all humans. The MPs are humans. Everybody in the government system are humans. So your profession does not change the person you are. Now, everybody have them favorite from my born till now. Everybody has been favoritism in their party. Everybody have good to say about their party and so forth. For what I would want to see in Jamaica, we need to clean the parliament out first. I would like to see a parliament where if an MP wrong, his constituency, I would like for that party to show up their MP individuals, because this is where it starts from. We have to clean from the parliament, come straight up, because this is why the people of Jamaica is doing the things they do, because too much blame game. We are keep blaming, but yet still the people are saying both parties do the same things, and everybody is loyal to a fault. So all we want to do is, as a PNP supporter, I would like to see PNP. I would like to see PNP, if a PNP MP, because remember, it doesn't mean that you are an MP, you are perfect, and you cannot make mistakes, or you cannot show love, or whatever the case may be. You are a human being. We all do stuff. The MPs have their flaws and faults too. So if an MP wrongs the party, that one MP will make the party look bad. So we need all MPs in both parties to be humanitarian and represent their party and look out for the people, because it starts from the MPs. That's where it starts from. So you have to clean up the parliament before Jamaica will be able to, before we can have a clean Jamaica. The party's MPs are supposed to be allowed to take accountability. Too much conflict of interest. There are conflict of interest, and we need a place where if you do a conflict of interest as an MP, your own party should be the one to show you up and show the country that we are fighting for Jamaica. So that is what I would really want to see, because I honestly think if they clean up that parliament, then Jamaica would be a better place, because corruption starts there. Thank you very much.
I know Gabby is having some. Mr. I know Gabby.
1 second there. Raymond, I would like for you to tell the people.
I think he took a phone call. I think he took a phone call.
Okay, well,
Comrade Gabby.
Here, my question is just simple. Where can you find the manifesto for the persons who don't know? Come on and tell them when them hear it from the horse's mouth themselves. Where are the platforms that the manifesto is available? And the persons who are spreading the propaganda that it is only written, and it's only written in patois, and they're putting it written in patois to confuse the people them, because people can't read English, or they never read patois. I wanted to explain to the people the different formats in which they can ingest, or they can partake, or they can get the information from the manifesto.
Triple X, good evening. That question can also be answered by Gabriella or Dr. Dawes. So one of them can also answer that question.
Hey, Gabby, I know you're having some connection issues, and I know you might be on a walk. If it's okay for you to open your microphone to say hello.
Hi, are you
here? To say hello.
Hi, are you here? I only have a short time to join, but I really wanted to just jump on. Big up to my colleagues. I see Dr. Dawes on, and Raymond. Big up to everybody. Triple, big up yourself. Teddy, and all the listeners. I just wanted to come on. I am in Northwest St. Anne right now, so I'm on the road campaigning. The energy is looking good, and we will bring home this seat. But as a general note, I think that we are in a very important election. I see a lot of people talking about, corruption, and talking about the need for leaders with accountability. And I totally agree with the person who spoke before. We need to hold our leaders accountable. I always say to young people, especially when they come and say, we no see no better, and the two sides are the same. I do not believe we are the same, because in the PNP, I am pleased to see that this election, we have a good mix of candidates, those with long experience and youthful energies, all in our 63 candidates list. And I believe that each of us has something to bring to the parliament, and I believe that we will serve with accountability, which is what we need for the country. So those who are used to the corruption, and so we need to kick them out of the parliament and stop complaining about it, but vote them out. And I say to people, don't continue to take the same old. If you vote for somebody, you need to encourage them to work on their behalf. MPs need to know that they're sent to the parliament by the people to work for the people. So they need to go in there and do the people's will. So it's not just about, them and what they want to do, but it is always about the people. So I wanted to make that clear. And yes, me see somebody say, and bright people to very brilliant set of candidates and a lot of women, which is important to the political process too, because we now have to go there, and not just the women, but all of us have to go there and advocate for our young mothers, for our young women, especially. So I'm looking forward to serving with this team of candidates because I believe that they're all exceptional and will bring something incredible to the table. In terms of youth, I just wanted to speak a little bit to that because I think a lot of our young people are really tired of the promises without delivery. And we saw in the last administration where the Prime Minister promised even 10,000 houses for young people with the aim of making housing more accessible to young people, because we hear it every day. A lot of young people don't even see themselves owning a home because it is so expensive. And that promise of 10,000 homes for young people, it was not delivered on. The PNP has come now and we've said not only will we make housing available for young people, but we'll make it easier for them to access them. We'll make it more affordable. And so we can talk about the Young Owners Deposit Fund, which is geared towards providing young people with down payment, support for down payment on their first home. So that's $500,000 that you don't have to pay back. Plus, when we are giving you a home, we're cutting out the cost of the land. So you're only paying for the house. We're also offering to our civil servants the opportunity to own a home and lower interest rates for them. So we're looking at the problems because we are in the business of solving problems. And we don't just, come up with some solution out of nowhere. We look at the challenges and we realize that the challenge is affordability. So our solutions to that address the issue of persons not being able to afford. In terms of university students, the PNPYO, we've been on the campuses, and one of the things that we have heard is that a lot of people can't afford it. And so we have come with the First in the Family Scholarship, which I know that Damien has championed for a long time. And we have said that the first person in every family that qualifies for university will go for free. So it's not just promises, but these are solid plans that we have fleshed out. We have costed them, so we know how much is it going to cost from the national budget. And we're putting it to the people to say, hey, we have heard your challenges, and these are the solutions that we're proposing so that you can have a better life. Because young people, we are not just a voting block, and it's not just, young people want a rum and a boom and a little money. No, young people are wising up, and I'm happy to see it. And they're thinking about their future. They're thinking about the things that will make them better and their families better. And so we are proposing these things that we know will lift the quality of life for Jamaicans. I see in the chat, people saying, how are we going to fund this? The truth is that the budget is extremely large. Each government must come into government and determine their priorities. The PNP has been clear that one of our priorities is education, youth development, housing. And so we will now look at the budget once we get there and allocate as our priorities determine. So we have been planning, we have costed them, we know how much each of these programs are going to cost, and it is not beyond us to execute them. So we have to change from just promises to progress, because people are looking out for their lives to be better and and for development of their country to come forward in this election. So we are on the ball. Dr. Daz, I don't know if you've spoken about health, but here in St. Anne, we know that Sedans Bay Hospital is a challenge. There are persons who are afraid to go to the hospital because of what it is like. People are calling it a dead house because they fear that when they got there, because of the lack of treatment, they will indeed die. And so we have to change the quality of our healthcare system. We have to change the quality of education that is being offered to our young people, because we need to improve the educational outcomes in our school. And so the PNP, we have been clear about what we want to do. We need persons to buy into this vision of a better life for all Jamaicans. And so I want to make a special appeal for persons to come out and vote. Your vote is your voice. I always say it. Your vote is your voice. Use your voice to make a difference in the country. Vote for representatives who will indeed represent you. That is what we need at this point in our history. And I believe that the PNP is the vehicle that will take us there.
Gabby, I want to ask you very quickly. What do you say to somebody like Moya that's in her 20s and have ambition as a young person to get into politics, that have political ambition? What do you say to young people like that using your own experience?
Well, Maya, I'm happy that you have that ambition, because the truth is we need more young people to enter the political process. When I went into the parliament at 23, a lot of people were saying, oh, what should I go do in a parliament? But I was very clear that I think young people and the voice of young people is important in political discourse. It is important in our parliament because we have an experience that needs to be included in the decision-making process. And so while somebody who is much more mature in their 60s and 70s, their experience is different from somebody in their 20s and 30s. And so one of the things that I would say to young people is always recognize that the youth voice is important in decision making. If you want to enter politics, one of the first things I would encourage anybody to do is get involved in the structures, because that is how you learn about politics. That is how you learn about people and communities and how that works and how government interacts with people. So the PNP-YO is the youth organization of the PNP, and we cater to young people from 15 to 33. We don't just do political work, but yes, much of our mandate it involves going out into communities, it involves canvassing, it involves organizing. But on the other side of that, we do work a lot with young people in communities. We have a scholarship program that we run because we try to assist young persons as much as we can. So it is a mix of politics and community work that we do. And I always invite young persons to get involved at that level. For me, I was also involved on the campus with the Visions group. And so persons who are at university can also get involved at that level. But it is a good place to start. And also, I encourage young people to understand why they want to be in politics, because you have to love people. You have to have a heart for service, and so once you understand your why, I think the outcomes will be good. So understand why you want to get into it, and also understand the ideology of the party that you're getting involved with.
So on that note, hold on there. On that note, because it was stated by the previous Minister of Finance that the only way to encourage young, fresh, intelligent talent was to raise the wages of the politicians by 200 to 300%. Were you one of those young, wise, intelligent persons who were swayed or introduced to politics because you wanted the 200 or 300% raise?
Well, no, no, Triple, because you see, I have spent more money in politics than I've earned. So it is not about what you can get out of politics, but it is what you can bring to the table. Oftentimes, we are on the ground and people have significant challenges and they look to you as the leader to really assist them. So for me, politics isn't about the money making. You understand? But I think that people have to understand that in government,
Gabriel?
you are there to use the people's money. It's taxpayers' money. It's not yours. So you have a responsibility to spend it wisely.
Gabriel?
So no, that wasn't my attraction to the politics.
Okay, can I say something, Gabriel? The people have a right to think how they think, but what they don't understand that you have people going in there for the money and people going there for the love and the passion that they have for their country and want to see a better country. So not everybody that go in politics go for the money.
No.
Some people go because them love them country and them want to see a better country. But Gabriel, I have a question.
Yes.
Can we depend on the PNP? If the country decides to choose PNP, can we depend on the PNP to open the registry so that the kids in this country can be safe? Because you know that most of these predators are in higher places with big professions, hiding behind them true selves. So we need the registry. Can we depend on PNP to open that registry and keep the kids of this country safe? Because everything starts from trauma.
Yes. No, I agree with you. Is cute, boss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been one of those who have been open about the fact that I believe that the registry should be public because that protects our children. One of the things that I believe is that the PNP will have to come in and really change how we deal with our children, especially our children in state care, because there are a lot of things that are being swept under the rug, and we need to expose them to protect our children. We need to put things in place that will prevent predators from having access to our children. I remember about 3 years ago when there's a gentleman from overseas that came here to do some charity work in some of the homes, the place of safety. And it turned out that he was one of the persons abusing the children. And I came out and I spoke about it, that it shouldn't be, because we need background checks on persons who are working with our children. They need to be able to present a police record. We need to know exactly who they are and what their intentions are. So you can count on the PNP. I know a lot of my colleagues have spoken publicly about the need for a public registry. And so that is something that we will be bringing back on the table once we become government.
Gabriela, can I ask a question? My question is to you, Gabriela. Because one of the issue I have is with education, and I think now we're having the lowest performance in terms of education we've ever had in our country. And my question to you is that, what is it the People's National Party have in store to reform our education system so that we can get more results from our kids? Because remember, I know, without the kids, we don't have a future. So we would like to know, what is it that the People's National Party have in store to reform our educational system so that we can get more results from our kids going to school?
Yeah. We, for the past 5 years, have been talking about our blueprint for education. The leader said it, Damien has said it, several other colleagues have commented on it. And one of the things we believe is important is setting a firm foundation for our young people, for our children. So starting at early childhood, from the first stage, we need to ensure that we give the resources to our schools to make sure that at that stage, the curriculum helps the children to develop to the level that they should develop. And so we want to start at early childhood. And right across the school system, we want to inject resources to our schools so that they can have the support to deliver the educational outcomes that we need to see. One of the things that we've spoken about as well is increased access to testing, because what we have been noticing across our schools is that many of our children, we have students with disabilities, with learning disabilities. And so it is important that from the early stage of childhood, they're diagnosed so that the necessary support can be given to them. We have spoken as well about our schools and having skills labs in schools, which I think is important, because we need to ensure that when students leave school, they're leaving with something that they can use to transition into the job market or into owning another business. And so I think our idea of having skills lab and increased access to skill training in schools is one that will transform the school system and will increase or lift the educational outcomes that we're seeing from our young people, because not every young person will come out with 10 CXC. There are some of them who are hands-on learners and have interest in earning a skill, and so we want to create those pathways for them. We have to also place some emphasis on literacy and numeracy, so that's one of the things that we want to focus on as well. But small, I have to run. My people them cussing me say I need to move on the road, so I'm hoping that another time we can join and talk a lot more about these things, because I do think they're important things that we have to discuss and spread the message out there about what the PNP is going to do. We have done a lot for Jamaica over the past few years. A lot of people talk about the 18 years in a negative light, but the truth is, in those 18 years, we have seen some of the greatest development that this country has seen has come from those 18 years under the PNP. But another time we can go into it. But what I can say in closing is that Mark Golding, as a leader, who is somebody who is knowledgeable.
Yeah, before you go, can you take Moya question, please?
Okay, Moya.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
Moya.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Moya.
man.
Okay, all right, good afternoon. So I had a few questions, one of them being the sex offender list, but Cute Boss already spoke on that. So my main question, because it's something that I didn't see in the manifesto because I read it today, and I can say that I am impressed with a lot of plans that are being put forward, but there are a few things that lapse in my opinion. So for example, there's no refer to the increase in autism that has been taking place. There's not enough awareness about it. A lot of parents have been struggling because there's no provision or information accessible in relation to the rise of autism in not only in Jamaica but in the world, right? I feel like it starts not only at home but also in relation to the schools. Teachers aren't being equipped to deal with children with different disabilities and autism. Parents aren't receiving enough information about how to deal with kids with autism, and I'm not sure why both parties haven't addressed it because it is something that is happening, that there's literally an increase in the world and definitely Jamaica. Does your party have any plans at all as it relates to the rise of autism in children in Jamaica?
Well, maybe Dr. Dawes could take on a part of that question, but what I will say is that we have spoken about increased support for parents of children with disabilities. The other day we had a forum that spoke to that, and several of the parents.
I wonder if them can change over everything and make them all in a 3 grade. All when you're 100, if you can't move somebody to grade 4 level, that is still reading at grade 2 level, like it mash up the country. I wonder if
You
them can
hear
make,
me?
yeah, we
Yes, we're
can all
hearing
in
you.
a 3 grade.
Dr. Dawes, we're coming to you right after Gabby. Gabby seems to be having some connection issues or somebody's calling her.
Ask
Go
them
ahead,
You
to
hearing
Gabby.
me?
Yes, Gabby.
Yeah, right. So I'm saying that it will be covered under the Disability Fund, which will provide support to families of children with disabilities, and that will be implemented in our schools as well. We've also spoken about the need for more teachers to look at special education. So that is something that the PNP has spoken on, Moya, and will prioritize as well. We had a forum, like I said, and it covered several of these issues relating to inclusivity in our society and in our education system as well.
Thank you very much, Gabby, and thank you for taking the time out to be here. And I want to say to everybody in Northwest Center, and you speak to the hope of young people and even women too that has question in their head. Being one of the youngest senator at 23 to go into the Senate, the youngest. So that shows to me that the People's National Party believe in youthfulness and believe in young people. The first woman and one of the not first woman, the youngest senator ever to be in Jamaica, and it's a woman. That gives hope to young people and it gives hope to women. Thank you very much, Gabby, for being here.
Awesome. All right, everybody, bless up. All right.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Dawes.
Oh, sorry.
Dr. Dawes, Member of Parliament candidate for Southeast St. Catherine and Minister of Health in waiting. Dr. Dawes.
Hi, good evening. I listened to the last question that Gabby answered, and it speaks to what we're facing in healthcare overall, in that a lot of people are being left behind, a lot of people are being forgotten, a lot of people are being overlooked, while the government has been focusing on mega projects that they can point to say the administration has been doing good work. We look at dilapidated clinics here in Southeast St. Catherine. We have Waterford Health Center, where when it rains, the water rushes through the clinic. The staff have to be mopping up with mops and buckets. Where the residents of Portmore who want to wait to see the doctor and the nurse there, they have to wait outside in a tent where it is overcrowded, it is hot, where the services at the Greater Portmore Health Center are limited, where there's no hospital to serve the community here locally, where mosquitoes are killing us in the evenings because there's only 2 scheduled spray days in one of the cities where they laugh and mock that Portmore mosquitoes are the biggest in Jamaica. There is a neglect of the everyday Jamaican while they focus on projects that are not necessary, that are not absolutely needed. And I take into consideration $14 billion is being spent to put up a new tower at the University Hospital of the West Indies that is not even a part of the public health system, where if you go there after that $14 billion is spent, you still have to pay to get medical care. If you were supposed to take $1 billion and fix up 14 hospitals, St. Anne's Bay Hospital in Gabby's constituency, Black River Hospital, Sav Hospital, Port Antonio, Spanish Town, and to put up a decent building, even if it's a community hospital in Portmore, you would go a far way more in impacting the lives of regular Jamaicans. And that is the problem that we face. And when we talk about a vote on September 3 to choose Jamaica, what they are asking us to do is to choose this spend that is focusing on mega projects, where they are not focusing on the services in healthcare, in the locations where it's needed. So you will see them boast about how much money has been spent in health for the first time more than any other government. Yes, it's true, because we as a country, we have struggled economically from independence for one reason or another. We inherited a government in 2011 that was pariah, that the IMF refused to speak to Jamaican delegates. The insults that Peter Phillips and Portia had to face before they agreed to say, we'll give you one more chance, but these are the fiscal rules. These are the austerity measures that you have to put in place before we give you the money that is needed to rescue the country from the disaster of the JLP government from 2007 to 11, when they said that the housing crisis in America would not affect us, and the economy collapsed, and we needed to borrow in order to survive, and we could not get the loans because they kept taking the IMF money and would not pass, even take the tests to pass. So we were faced in 2016, up to 2016, with an austerity government where we were mandated by the lenders of that money to not spend more than a certain amount on healthcare. And that is why the hospitals were constantly running down, equipment was being broken, because then user fees were removed, which would go towards the maintenance of the infrastructure and the equipment. And then on top of that, now the utilization started to increase. So after austerity, when we cleared IMF and we didn't have those stringent conditions, when the debt was paid down, when for the first time the economy was poised because of the sacrifice of everyday Jamaicans during those austerity years, we had enough money to spend on health for the first time in Jamaica's history. What did we do with that money? We used it to enrich friends by overpaying for medical equipment, for going on projects the Ministry of Health became one big Ministry of Construction. And because of that, money has been sucked out of the healthcare sector, and it has not been, the money has not, we have not had value for that money. What we want to do is to change all of that and to focus on what Jamaicans need. If you look at what are the top diseases that are killing Jamaicans, they're chronic non-communicable diseases. We have to find Jamaicans with those diseases and treat them before they end up in a hospital. The screening programs that the Ministry of Health have now is all about marketing, where they are just focused on road shows. We have to put screening into the communities, where you can have community health aides armed with point-of-care machines and blood pressure cuffs, going out at churches, health fairs, into the homes of regular Jamaicans, screening for diabetes, screening for high blood pressure, screening for high cholesterol. And then you start treatment. Once you can control those conditions at the primary level, so you don't end up with a stroke, you don't end up with a heart attack, you don't end up with an amputation because the diabetes is out of control, you're going to lessen the burden on the hospitals, and more Jamaicans are going to be healthier and live longer.
Dr. Dawes. Good afternoon, sir. Can I give a constructive criticism a little? Because all of this has explained to us already. So round and round on the magic school bus. What are we going to do about, what about paying special attention to getting rid of the free mentality? Remember, you MPs are human beings, right? We, the people of the country, have to be able to help you guys fix this country. What about getting rid of the free mentality? We need some factories for the illiterate that cannot read but can use them hands to make fashion. Because Jamaica's got talent. We need, because in order to look a job, you have to have some collaterals. Not everybody is able to read and write and have certain collaterals to go and look a job. How about the empty lands in Jamaica? Build some factories so that people that cannot read and write, them can find themselves occupied, because the devil always find work for idle hands. So what about getting these people with the free mentality to have something to do, something busy on their hand to do, so that we can have less problem in this country? Let us just visit the free mentality, because giving these people fish is not going to get Jamaica any better. We have to teach them how to fish. And in order to teach them how to fish, we need factories, we need jobs for people who cannot sign their name on a paper because them have talent. Everybody born with talent different places. Some of us born with talent in our brains, some of us born with it in our hand. There are things here that Jamaicans can do, but they're scared to go out and look a job because of their educational status. So how about making Jamaica start doing exports rather than imports? We need more export in this country to keep this country running. The free mentality of the people of this country is not going to get this country any better. And then the government gets the blame. We cannot blame the government. We as a people have to take accountability too. We need to get rid of the free mentality to have a better Jamaica. So let's teach them how to fish and not just give them fish. Thank you very much.
Hold on there. Dr. Dawes, good evening. Me hear what Cute Boss said a while ago. There is something in the budget to start production and to give jobs to the poorest of the poor. The $1 billion that was said to be entered into the creative fund, a lot of persons have made a mistake and think that it's for TikTokers or persons on Instagram and everything. This is an industry that we can actually create jobs, and not only create jobs, but create well-paying jobs, or jobs that are going to compensate the persons that are entering these jobs properly. Because if we do create factories, what are we going to create? What are we going to build in these factories? And at what rate are we going to pay the workers in these factories? And how are we going to sell whatever it is that we create in these factories? The Jamaicans are not going to work for that rate, for what manufacture, where manufacturing is right now. The cost for manufacturing is way low, and it is below what minimum wage is right now. If you're going to pay for like real manufacturing to be competitive on the international market, if you're going to try to spread it to the world, because if you're going to have to manufacture to sell to the world for it to become financially viable for the country. So when Mark Golding, this administration, proposes that they're going to invest into the entertainment field or into the creative fund, these are creating sound stages, these are making Jamaica able to do production for international projects like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and all of these streaming platforms, which we already have the talent here in the creative sector, with a lot of persons in Jamaica are able to this is not only for persons who are going to act in front of the camera, but persons who are going to learn how to use the camera, persons who are truck drivers, persons who are going to build the sets, carpenters, mechanics, engineers, seamstresses, the food and beverage persons, hospitality. This is an whole entire industry that is going to be started after these investments are made. So these are things that are already on the books, but the thing is that I don't believe that the People's National Party, as the messaging of the People's National Party, is out enough for the average Jamaican to understand how these things will benefit the average Jamaican.
And I also heard Gabby, when she was here, she spoke about the labs, the tech labs in high schools. So those cute balls, she's talking about the skills. So she's talking about the welding, the woodwork shop. That's what she spoke about when she talked about the tech labs. So like you have a lot of technical schools. She's saying in every school there is supposed to be a tech lab. So whatever that tech is, there's supposed to be a tech lab. So if it's clothing and textile, there's a clothing and textile lab. If it's welding, there's a lab there for it. But Dr. Dawes will take, and we're now welcome to ask Dr. Dawes any questions surrounding health and what we want to see in health. I'm going to start. I want to see, go ahead, Moya.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Dr. Dawes a question. All right, so first of all, Dr. Dawes came on and he was speaking about the conditions of basically healthcare and how bad it is, right? We, the people of Jamaica, we already know that. We live it, we experience it. We know that healthcare is horrible. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to be completely honest, it never just got horrible overnight or started yesterday. We've been experiencing this both when PNP is in power and when JLP is in power. It's not anything new. And my problem that I'm having with both parties is they're both going to say, okay, yes, we're offering better healthcare, but we can't hear how. And even in the plans, hold on, because I know probably with Tripple gonna tell me that Moya, it's in the manifesto. I read the manifesto, and yes, you can say, oh, we're going to support healthcare workers more, whatever, but how? We can't hear how. And what I feel like politicians don't understand is, without the how, it's just empty promises. Because like I said, both parties can tell us that, okay, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix that, but how? What a lot of people don't know is that yesterday, the economy is a domino effect. You can't fix one thing without something else being affected. So you can't just tell me that so for example, bring back the factories idea that you guys were talking about. You can't just tell me you're going to build all these factories, because how? How? Is it that a budget for something else is going to be cut short? Are you guys going to implement new taxes for us to fund it? How is it going to be funded? Everybody can come. I can come, and I'm not a politician, and I can come and promise you better healthcare, more this and that for this sector. I can promise you everything, but without telling us how. And I've been waiting to hear how from, as I said, from both parties. I am not biased when it comes to a party. I am willing to vote either PNP or JLP, whichever one can tell me effectively how they are going to make this country better. And I feel like it's lacking on both parties. We are not hearing how. We're not hearing how. It's just promises after promises. Quote unquote plans, even though the plan's not saying how, the plan is just saying, for example, right here in the manifesto, it just says, increase benefits and offer student loan forgiveness. You're not saying how that's going to be possible. How are you going to just offer student loan forgiveness to every public sector worker? How is that? I'm not saying it's impossible, but how is that? How will that even be possible? So I would just like to know hear from Dr. Dawes, and I'm sure majority of the people would like to know as well. Yes, we know that the healthcare is horrible. We can agree that JLP did this or PNP did that and they didn't do that, and it's always this blame game when it's not 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year. The healthcare has been in
But Moya,
shambles.
the PNP did a press conference on how.
Hold on, let us hear it. Dr. Dawes. Dr. Dawes, let us.
Dr. Dawes is here. Make him answer.
The Dr. Dawes is spokesperson for health. So Dr. Dawes, I'd love to hear from you. What difference should we look forward to in the health system, and what changes are we expected to see, and how you and your team plan to make these changes?
So I'd actually started on my how before we had moved on to the conversation about factories. The how is that what you do to decrease the burden on the hospitals is to make Jamaicans healthier by putting more resources in primary care. I had started to outline how it is that we would be able to decrease the amputations, the heart attacks, the kidney disease, etc., that are overcrowding the hospitals, less strokes, and so on, by focusing on screening in the primary care sector. That is the whole.
When you say primary care, are you talking about the community clinics, or can you speak?
You focus on the clinics, you control the diabetes, you control the hypertension, you do screening to pick up cancers so you can remove polyps before they turn into colon cancers. And that is how you solve it. That is the how. The next level, by going into hospitals, again, I did say how. Instead of focusing on mega structures, and I use the example of the $14 billion at the University Hospital at the West Indies. If you split up that $14 billion, that is there already, that is accounted for in the budget, that is not going to require new taxes. It is there. It is just the allocation of where you're putting it. You take that $14 billion and you use it, instead of putting up one tower at one hospital, you take it and divide it up among different hospitals and clinics and create more wards. You create more operating theaters that are functional. You put in scans, CAT scans, MRIs. And with that, you can diagnose and treat far more efficiently. Length of stay in hospital decreases, death rates go down, and you have less overcrowding in the hospitals. The third thing that you have to look at in terms of the how, that we have to look at how the money is spent. It is when we speak about financial, we're talking about funding in the health sector. We like to ask whether or not you're going to pay with user fees or you're going to pay with taxes. You can decrease wastage, and part of the wastage comes through contracts that are inflated by 1,000% or more. We want to limit the theft and the corruption that takes place in the Ministry of Health so that we can have savings of billions of dollars that can be reinvested in health. We also want to have administrative reform so that instead of having 4 regional health authorities and the National Central Ministry of Health, each with a budget of billions of dollars, each with huge administrative costs that have very little to do with the delivery of healthcare, each has their rent, utilities, and all of that. We want to cut down and make it more efficient and have maybe 2 regions or 3 at most. And you have, again, cost savings of billions of dollars that can be used to subsidize drugs, so you have drugs available, maintain equipment. When you have maintained equipment, less equipment goes down, less operating theater, elevators, etc. go down. And those are the hows that we have been repeating over and over. It's just a matter of understanding that with the path that we're taking, is a fundamentally different one from the current administration, where instead of putting up big buildings, we're going to take that money in that budget and focus on service delivery, such as screening and having the machines and drugs available. That is the hope.
Dr. Dawes, and I think in your first point, I got what you were saying, but I don't believe my friend in the comment section understand it. I think because there was some medical term that was used. Yes, cute boss. I think because there was some medical term that was used. But what I gather from what you were saying, what many cute boss? What I gather from what you were saying is that you put more funding into clinics like community healthcare, right? Is that what you were saying? So before it gets, so if we're talking about cancer, before you have to spend all the money and treating cancer in the big hospital, before it gets to that place, you're saying those clinics, that your community clinic, you will implement plans so people can go there and do their regular prop smear, do their regular this before it gets to that stage. Is that what you're saying? Because you use some terms.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I'll use breast cancer as an example. If we're going to, breast cancer is the second most common cancer in women. And to treat breast cancer when it has spread, which means that you have missed it completely and not screened for it, you're talking about the radiation alone is about 20,000 US. That's about 3-point-something million. The surgery and aftercare, maybe another million. Chemotherapy, another 2 million. You're talking about maybe $6-7 million. Call it $7 million, right? The value to treat and save the life of someone with breast cancer. A mammogram costs about $7,000. So you're talking about $7 million to treat an advanced breast cancer. You can do 1,000 mammograms. 1,000 mammograms. Pick up breast cancer when it is very early. Do a biopsy and cut out that area and treat it without all of the fancy stuff. And you will end up with the treatment of that breast cancer for maybe under $1 million. So that is a value for money. That is how you fund things. Every dollar that's spent in primary care saves about $7 in the hospital. And then you're talking about the physical, mental, emotional toll on the patient and the family. So this is why we say that we want to pivot to more patient-centered and community-centered healthcare, which is how we had it in the past when we got rid of a lot of the chronic, the communicable diseases.
Dr. Dawes, back to what Moya was saying. How is this conversation really helping Jamaica? Because every time we get to a question and a point, it goes back round to the both government blaming each other.
The man did not blame the next government. The man simple.
Listen,
hold on, I explained to you.
Let me talk, please.
So you asked how I was going to do it, and I explained how I can improve healthcare because of what you are seeing now, the outcomes, the different approach that I am going to take. It is not about blaming anybody. It is about me showing, contrasting the difference with focusing on primary care and screening versus focusing on putting up big buildings. It is not a blame. It is a simple contrast and showing exactly, given dollar figures, given patient experience, how my approach, the how that you asked about, is going to improve healthcare.
Dr. Dawes, sorry to cut you, but I have a question. What I got from what you were explaining, trying to answer my question, is basically that the funding, or quote unquote, as you like to say, the money is there. It's just that because of corruption, it's not being allocated properly. Is that what you were saying?
No. That is narrowing down. I explained that there are several ways in which the money is not getting to the delivery of healthcare. Corruption is one. The other one is the wastage through the inefficiencies of having the regions having a large budget on overheads and rent and so on. There's a lot of wastage in that. There's a lot of wastage in procurement, as well as the corruption. There's also a misalignment whereby money would go towards construction versus going to buying medication and treating medicines. So I did not say that it is corruption.
Dr. Dawes, Dr. Dawes, beg you a second, you know, because it come like you talk in a standard English too much, and a lot of persons are not answering. Maya, my darling, I broke it down a little bit.
No, hold on, before you say,
no, not you, not you.
It is in the first two sentences that he said, he basically agreed to what I was saying, and then in addition to that, he added the wastage. So he said
only
no, you said about corruption. You said it, but he never implement about corruption. But what we have said is this: it's like you have a delivery company, Zine, and you have thousands of packages to be delivered. Zine, you have thousands of small packages to be delivered. Instead of you have $1 million for buy or $10 million for buy something. You said so you buy one big delivery truck for deliver, but you now can deliver everything if you buy one big delivery truck at one point. So instead of buying one big delivery truck, you said some buy 100 yen, and the 100 yen them what you buy, I can be able to deliver the package them more efficiently in a less time, and it can service a larger amount of persons. So instead of using the money, instead of using the money and make one big spending, and hold on, I'm finish explaining me a second, man. One sec, cute boss, hold on, you can ask him. Just wait, man, for a second, man. So instead of you just set and make it taking one big money and doing one grand spend to point at and say, people, look, I have a delivery truck. You make smaller purchases and buy the yen them so you can service everybody. So instead of making one huge hospital in Papine, that persons are going to have to leave from Manchester, leave from St. Elizabeth, leave from Westmoreland and come to seek service there and care there. You put the diagnostic machines in the medical centers closer to persons. Your person have walking distance can go to their clinic, they can go get a mammogram, they can get their blood work done there. So before them even start to feel like them are dead, before them have to borrow money to come all the way up in, them get caught, the first them cough, them get caught for say, all right, your blood pressure high, you know say you need for depend on this medication, your blood work is off, you need for depend on this to get your blood work right. Okay, you might find a polyp in your colon for the man them we have when him again prostate cancer, your prostate might start right, you can set and daily get medication for get diagnostic for know what is wrong with your prostate from the clinic stage instead before it get well expensive. So that is going to save the country in terms of treatment, and it's also going to save the country in terms of the human cost of it.
Triple X. And Dr. Dawes, if I'm wrong, 1 minute.
Let me ask Dr. Dawes a question, because I don't understand politics too much. So Dr. Dawes, because I don't understand, I would like to know, because when PNP got the 18 years, right? When PNP come out, JLP said that they got the country in a shambles, right? Now, PNP are saying that Labour right mash up the country. So I am saying, when a party takes over from another party that left the country in a shambles, how long does it take for the country to mend back? How long does it take that new government to mend back that the country? Because every party comes and them said a party mash up the country and a party you understand me? So when you get the country in a shambles, how long does it take to fix back the country, to get the country on track?
I'm not sure that's a question that I fully appreciate in terms of offering an answer, because you're asking me to give you a time period when a government is going to fix a country that is not an island in the world where you have economic insults taking place, where you may have pandemics, where you may have war, a lot of turmoil. You can't answer that question. There is no answer. In the 1970s, when you had the oil shocks, you cannot grow a country with that level of inflation. In the 1980s, when you had the debt to GDP being way higher than it was in recent times when it was 140, I think it was over 200%. You couldn't, Edward Seaga or anybody couldn't say how long it's going to take them. In the 1990s, you know, when we...
But Dr. Dawes, the reason I asked that question, because you see my question then is very emotional. Because the people of Jamaica keep saying this.
I know, but allow me to answer, please. Just allow me to answer. In 2007, nobody could have seen the housing crash that took place, the housing market crash that affected us. And that's what led us into the austerity period that we're basically just coming out of. So that's not a question that I think any economist or politician or student of social, history, nobody can answer that question because no country exists in isolation of the world and the world economy.
Dr. Dawes, just one point, and I want to make sure that I have an understanding. To Moya question that she asked, it seems that she still didn't get clarity. What I got from it is this, Moya. He's saying, a lot of people just sit at home. Say, Anil Jukene, I'm going down.
No, I hold on. I understand that part. I agree to that part. The only reason why I focus on the corruption because that is something that I actually wanted to address. So when Triple X was breaking it down, I got to what he was saying. But as I said before, Dr. Dawes, he stated the corruption as one of the points. He did. It was not the main point, but he did state it as one. So when I was referring to the corruption, by the way, because I saw some comrades got offended, I actually wasn't speaking about the PNP. I was referring to the fighting poor right now, because this is my belief, and this is a lot of Jamaicans' belief, right? It's not the country. Jamaica is not a poor country. I say this all the time. Jamaica is not poor, Jamaica is not suffering. The country is earning money, it's just not being allocated properly or it's not being invested in certain sectors. For example, our healthcare, in my opinion, could have been much better, right? And I can't say I can blame it on PNP or JLP because it's been this way for years, decades if we want to put it here, right? So what I was asking in terms of the corruption or the allocation of funds or investment into the healthcare system, right? What I want to know, so for example, Dr. Dawes here, let's say that PNP wins this election, right? And Dr. Dawes is the Minister of Health, right? Sorry, I'm not sure of the term.
You can call him that.
Okay, yes. What I want to know, if PNP is in power and Dr. Dawes become the Minister of Health, does the PNP have like what do you call it now? Like ways to keep track and make sure that what was said is actually done? So for example, let's say I'm just using random figures. Let's say $1 billion is allocated to healthcare. Do you guys do like evaluations, of performance and stuff like that to ensure that okay, this $1 billion was supposed to quote unquote, as Triple B said before, buy the yang or build up the factories or whatever? How do you keep track and make sure that all MPs or candidates or minister of this and minister of that are actually doing what they are supposed to be doing? Because I feel like that is another thing when it comes to accountability and ensuring that all ministers are doing what they should do. Because in my opinion, you have some MPs that are performing great, and then you have some that people that say them not do nothing, or oh, I never see my MP yet, or this road need to fix, that need to fix. So what I want to know is, do you guys actually evaluate your performances? Is there audits being done to make sure that okay, Dr. Dawes said that he was going to take this $1 billion and build the factories, or as the statement that he made before, ensure that there are tests to be done before it reaches certain points and have to become wastage. Sorry. How do we know that that is being done?
Moya, before we even get to Dr. Dawes, because this thing is not a PNP or JLP thing, I think something like this
right.
Yeah, something like this is for us the people.
Both parties.
Yeah, something like this is for us the people, because it goes back to constitution and constitution reform. Like, how do we hold our ministers accountable?
Right.
How do we hold our member of parliament accountable? And that is not happening. So
it's called an integrity commission that one of the political parties is trying to dismantle.
And it's effective?
it is
'Cause I've
not
never heard
effective
of that
because
before.
it is not yet.
Can
You've never heard of
I just
Integrity
try
Commission
to answer
before?
that question because I have to jump off now because I'll have my walks that should have started already. So that's a very good question because every election politicians on both sides promise and then
Right.
there's really no report card
Right.
to
That's what
hold
I'm
people
asking.
accountable by. And this is so when the $1 billion is supposed to go into Ministry of Health. That's why one of the things I mentioned was reform of procurement with the contracts. Because what happens is that even though you can say, yes, we have spent this $1 billion, all of it is spent, and this is what we spent it on. Instead of, you would realize that if you're doing an audit, you buy a yen for $10 million. But then they can put in the invoices to justify why that yen cost $10 million. And then you will say that the money was spent and it was not stolen because there's an invoice for every single dollar spent. What we want to do is to reform things so much that we are going to evaluate those invoices to make sure that it is not somebody and their friend is selling the government for that 10 million, that yen for $10 million. And that is how they're sucking out money out of the ministries. We want to make sure that you're getting value for money. And then when you empower the Integrity Commission to do that, once you're charged or under investigation like that, the people who elected you in your constituency, we're going to introduce the impeachment bill where they can put enough signatures to say that we do not want this MP anymore because he has been robbing us, he has not been fixing or doing anything. You give back the power to the people when you can impeach them. And that is one of the greatest constitutional amendments we can have, because it can't be that the only time you can get rid of an MP is every 5 years when they're going to come with a next set of promises and they're going to try and buy vote because they have stolen enough through voices. But I really enjoyed this live. The questions are very probing, and it just shows that coming and promising is not going to make the difference. The people are waking up, and accountability is demanded. And I think whoever wins this election, they have to answer to the people immediately, otherwise they're gone. So thanks again. Thanks for
Dr. Dawes.
having me
Thank
on.
you.
I have to run.
Dr. Dawes. Dr.
Yeah.
Dawes. I know you have your walk that's running too, but you spoke of your plans too. And when elected when take office in September, how soon should we see these plans taking effect? Like how soon should we see them?
Well, we can see some immediate changes. So, for example, let's go back to something in recent memory. The 25 babies that died at Victoria Jubilee Hospital. There are about 229 babies that died since October last year. We know the problem is overcrowding. We know the problem is understaffing. It's not outbreaks. But there are some basic tools that are needed. For example, a portable X-ray, meaning that the babies are too unstable to go to KPH from Jubilee and to get an X-ray to make a diagnosis. You have an X-ray that we can buy that can come over to the nursery and take the pictures of the babies so that we can make a diagnosis there and start treatment. There are a lot of things like the feeding. There are a lot of things that we can do, like opening a nursery, a neonatal ICU at Bustamante Hospital to decrease the overcrowding. We can put a CT scan at Bustamante. So we have a lot of low-hanging fruits that we can see in the first 6 months to a year that will make a vast difference. And while we're doing that, we're rolling out the screening. You won't see the benefits of increased screening until you start to see the cancer cases declining and cancer deaths declining over 5 years. But over 5 years. So we don't plan just from one election cycle to the next. We're putting measures that are going to be long term. But I have to go now.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having me, and I look forward to joining you another time.
Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it.
All right, Jamaica. Thank you, Dr. Dawes, for that.
Go, Moya.
All right, I wanted to tell him thank you though, because I really appreciated that response. response for the last question that I had. But I just wanted to say one more thing because I have to go now. In relation to my first question about the autism, I know that so then again, Miss Gabrielle had responded.
Yeah.
And she was talking about, she was saying basically that the manifesto does cover disabilities, but I feel like when it comes to autism, if they could focus a little bit more on that as well, like separately, because a lot of new parents, that have kids that are autistic in Jamaica right now, they really are struggling. I know people say you can just go Google things, but certain resources can be, well, it would be nice if certain resources could be allocated to help to assist them, because there's not much doctors or, provisions for kids with autism in Jamaica, because it is something that a lot of people are just learning about. Even though it's been around, it's something that a lot of people are just getting to know about, and there's not enough awareness about it. So if that could be something that both parties could speak about in their manifestos or plans, that would be good. Because like I said, there's a lot of parents, even on TikTok right now, that's saying that they feel like nobody is addressing autism in Jamaica. So it really should be something that should be spoken about. More schools, stuff like that. So it's just something that I want to put out there because I haven't heard anybody speak about it.
I guess make you answer something. Hold on there. Make you answer something to that 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Moya, that is something that me have personal experience with. And to be honest, I agree with you 100%. But the most important thing about treating autism is early diagnosis and early detection. You understand? Because the problem that a lot of persons have, they do not get. Even if you see the problems, or even a lot of persons mistake it for the child being rude or the child being aggressive or whatever. And a lot of persons are not diagnosed till them are like 9, 10, 11, 12, or even if they ever get diagnosed at all. So what Dr. Dawes has proposed with the early diagnostic and early implementation, if we have early childhood development nurses that are supposed to be at nurses that specialize in early childhood development, like public health nurses and stuff, if they are more of them in the medical centers and they have more latitude for them to move about, they can, and because really and truly, the nurses in the clinics and in the public health sector are supposed to be doing house-to-house visits to young children. You understand me? I say that's how the medical system is designed. But because of underfunding and under-resources and shortage in nurses and in persons in this proficiency, because a lot of the nurses that go in as level 1 RNs are not able to do courses because it's not financially viable for them. So this is why the student loan forgiveness and doing and the government providing the platitude for nurses to do these courses are necessary. You understand? So we go right back to education again, and we go right back to healthcare again to these things. So as you said something that there's a domino effect of everything that you do. So you say everything, same like we have a domino effect for everything that you do negative, that something happens negative, there's a domino effect for everything that happens positive. I think they call it the butterfly effect, where something happens way over there, and it becomes a larva, and by the time it transforms into a butterfly, it becomes something beautiful that spreads out to everywhere else. You understand? So if we fix the medical system and the education system, these things will have a ripple effect for early detection, early diagnosis for these children, and then after we find early diagnosis, because some forms of autism, if you get the proper learning plan, they are basically treatable. They're not curable, but they are treatable if you detect them from early. You understand?
Triple Moya question that you asked, like, I really appreciate the question. And I like too how Dr. Dawes was able to even break it down in 5 minutes. Yeah. How? Because like you asked, important question. You have these plans for education. Where is the funding coming from? How are you going to fix it? And right there and then, what I got from it is that he's saying, some people does not like hospital, don't like going to the hospital. So a man get juke in him foot with a nail in him yard, and him dead with the foot. When him could have just got the clinic and a nurse look at the foot and just dress the foot. You understand? Him have it there till the foot have to get him reach him have to emergency now, him have to go into the emergency room at a hospital, and now the leg have to get amputated, them have to get a doctor involved, them have to get surgeon involved, nurses, and it takes more money.
But so here's the thing, Spicy. Sorry to cut you that in, because you may have to leave soon. Triple is right, but what I keep coming back to is that people, so for example, even with the testing, if people don't know about autism, how are they going to know that they need to go and get the child tested for it? You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not saying the government isn't, all right, let me tell you, I'm not trying to say, because I feel like every time I bring forth a point, people assume that I'm trying to say the government isn't doing nothing. I'm not trying to say that the PNP nor the JLP didn't do anything at all. I'm saying the information isn't being provided. People can't go and test or this and that for something they don't even know about. You understand? True. So I'm just saying more information can be provided to the public about, just like how you can. Alright, so for example, when COVID happened, everywhere you turn, this is something about COVID. Every advertisement you hear say, alright, you need to mask up, you need to this. I'm just saying there can be something that can be done so that the information can be spread. If people don't know about something, don't say public education. We never go to school and learn about autism, so they can't even say that.
No. That they mean, Moya. Moya, what I must say is that what I said to you a while ago, it's not the persons. No, yes, but I agree with you. They would need to have public education about autism. However, the point that we're saying is that every single baby, every single child is supposed to go through the public health system. That is how the system was designed for it to work.
Oh, so you're saying that they should just test it?
Yeah, every child. That is a test that is in it, because
mandatory.
You have cognitive response, cognitive dissonance, all them things. There are tests that are done to children. But because there's not enough resources for these things to be done adequately, enough resources are not sent to the clinics for these things to be done adequately. This is why a lot of people are falling through the cracks.
Yeah. And it's very important to go. Yes, go ahead.
Before you go, Moya, recently the PNP held a press conference, not really a press conference, but like a seminar around disability, and autism was one of the biggest factor of it, because they're looking holistically on autism and how it can be early detected and how they can treat these people. You understand me? I am also big on autism because I also a part of the community of autism, talking to parents, etc. Right? So I wanted to find the clip that party leader was talking about, but I'll find a little bit later. But PNP is really big on autism and disability now, especially as it grapples the community.
Teddy.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see the manifesto, that's why I brought it.
But even so, Moya.
Yeah.
You did say something when we did try address, but you may carry the question as fast as
Isaac request.
Moya, let me tell you something. We're only scratching the surface. If you listen to the mindset of Jamaican people, everybody is playing blame game. So are the MPs and the government.
That's what I said too.
Yes, you see the mindset
because healthcare has been bad for years.
The mindset of the people is important, because are we not going to address mental slavery? The mindset of the people are important. So because everybody, when we did try get that, everybody play a blame game, right? Both parties are blaming each other. So the people of Jamaica split in two because the parties are blaming each other. So Jamaican people are choosing their party, blaming the other party, and round on the magic school bus, it not stopping. So are we not going to ask these MP to have emotional attachment to the people of this country? Because as far as me know, everybody keeps saying, PNP,
I have a clip. I have a clip here of Marco.
Roger, hold on, the cute boss finish talk. Hold on, the cute boss finish talk.
Everybody's on a different level of understanding. Everybody understand on the level that their mindset is. How about having emotional attachment to the people and serving the people of this country? But them never give me a chance to explain. You understand me? Because you see my question, them is very emotional. Them very emotional. Because I am not a person of PNP nor JLP. I am more of
Cute boss, you came on. Alright, there's 3 PNP prospective members of parliament that just came a while ago. Name which one of them came here and did a blame game and was pointing blame at the Jamaican Labour Party.
They were what I call blame game when they are talking down on each other. Then JLP do this.
Andre, you'll take it now if you're available. Hold on, 1 minute.
Moya,
Member of Parliament candidate
there's something that is called inference. You're making an inference to what
Moya,
happened.
before you leave, Moya, could you listen to this for me,
But
please?
Triple X, the people of the country are not
Triple X,
taking
let
it that
Moya
way.
listen to this.
They were blaming. You can't say they were.
The people of this country are using it as
Kubas,
segregation.
1 second.
Well, Kubas, I'm here. What's up?
Yes, hi, Krista. Thank you very much for raising that issue. Yes, it is Autism Month, and it's an appropriate time for us to give some thought to this situation in Jamaica. The truth is that autism has been only relatively recently identified and understood, and it's still not fully understood. But the systems in the health sector and in the education sector for managing the challenge that parents have with autistic children are really inadequate. And it's a problem which is growing because it's more and more being recognized as a problem and the numbers expand. And of course, for whatever reason, it impacts many more boys than girls. We don't know why. But the ratio, I think, is somewhere around 4 to 1 or something like that, boys to girls who have this problem of autism. I have been speaking to some experts in the field, and the truth is that we really need much more our special education teachers to also have exposure to the clinical disciplines that are required for helping to give children who are on the spectrum a better chance. You know, the various therapies, speech therapy and other behavioral therapies that assist them to make progress are very, very vital, and we're not adequately covering that in our education system in special education. I think we need to also deal with the dire shortage of persons who can take on this challenge in the classroom and so on. We just don't have enough special ed teachers. So what we need to do is to incentivize persons to study those disciplines. We have seen that where an incentive is given to persons to come into a field of education, the numbers who want to apply expand dramatically. And since we've identified this as an area of special need for the country, special needs children, we need to incentivize by scholarships and so on our students who are looking at a career to consider this if they're going into education, so we can have much better numbers, because of course this is not a situation where you can have many students to one teacher. It needs much more care and attention. And I think the whole system of providing shadows for children so they can attend school where they can't really attend on their own, they need that kind of support. That's vital, and my understanding is that some assistance is given, but many children don't benefit from it for whatever reason. Maybe their means tested out, or the level of support is really inadequate relative to the cost of actually playing the role of a shadow. So again, I think if we're serious about tackling this issue, and it's a growing problem, we have to put some resources behind supporting the shadows. So these are some of the ideas that we have. And I recognize it as a serious issue, a growing issue in the country. And thank you for raising this in Autism Month.
I just wanted to do that for you, Moya.
No, you're saying it, and I appreciate it, and I'm glad that he addressed it. But I don't see what's the difference between me coming and asking. Somebody asked him about it. Somebody actually had to inform him. Based on the clip, the starting of the clip, somebody who was there, wherever that is. I don't know if it's a conference or what. Somebody asked him about it. It's not something that was listed in the manifesto or
Moya, you asked what was the plan.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. I just asked the question, and somebody asked. Answer the question.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything is wrong with it. Sorry, I'm not just in the comment section.
I think she's saying, Moya, I
didn't hear anything about it before until I asked, and I think it's the same thing that happened in that where you said it is a forum. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, Spice. I'm just gonna say this.
You're good.
These people are insisting that I am guilty, and it's so frustrating because if only they knew
Moya,
what
stop
I
with the comment.
sorry, I have to read it, Triple, because they don't understand that I am here today to learn. I'm not here to come and cheer PNP or cheer guilty. If anybody noticed since I've
Hold them
been
accountable.
I've been
I appreciate
addressing
that.
and holding JLP accountable as well, because I even said it. I said it before that this country is a very rich country. Money is being made, but it is not being allocated properly because of corruption. I am here to learn. I came here today to actually listen to the members of PNP. This is why I'm asking so many questions. I'm not trying to burn out anything or disrespect anybody. I'm here to learn. And this is a problem that I have with a lot of you guys when it comes to politics. When you behave as if people cannot come and learn about a party so they can choose who they want to vote for. When you want to bully people to vote for what you believe in because your grandmother and the mother believe in a party. There are people out there like me. Hold on, I'm finished. There are people out there like me that do not believe in a party. I believe in voting for what is better for the country. So if I come here today and I hear Roger play something about Mark Golden addressing autism, or I hear Dr. Dawes answer, because I appreciated his response so much. It's because I don't even know someone, but just get fit. Probably in a Dr. Dawes alone out of every politician. Just the way to learn.
Moya, don't even get somebody.
Sorry, I'm sorry. But
no, Moya, I'm saying if somebody could even screen record this, you see how Dr. Dawes, honestly, how Dr. Dawes used 5 minutes. And we could see the plan.
Exactly.
We could visualize the plan that he has for healthcare right in front of our eyes. We could see it. We could see where the funding, funding is going to come from to put into his
and I
new plan.
appreciated his response.
It was very good how he broke it down in 5 minutes.
Really was.
It was really good.
Spicy. Moya. You see, Jamaican people, or people in general, people are gonna stick over where they are. Most persons are going to stick to where they were indoctrinated from. Persons are going to be tribalistic because that is what human nature is. Human nature is naturally that people are going to try to stick to like-minded individuals. Everybody is not going to, and the truth of the matter is a lot of persons who they comment and say things, especially in the comment section, them say things to trigger people who are in the box. So sometimes when you watch and read what it is that they are saying, they are trying to incite a negative reaction from you. Now everybody in the panel, we are being respectful of each other. Nobody's trying to chastise you because people are chastising me, people are chastising Raja, people are chastising Dr. Dawes, and you just have to just ignore those persons and focus on the matter at hand. You, as you said, you came here today to be informed and to be educated and also to hold the PNP accountable. And the best thing that I've seen so far is that the PNP has stood on accountability. Every time you hold their feet to the fire, they don't draw with them foot, them take the burn and then explain why the fire is being burnt. You understand me I say? So I am really glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come here today and ask the necessary questions that were needed to be asked. And I'm glad that you got some of the answers that you wanted. As it pertains to autism, there is a program in Jamaica already called the Early Stimulation Program. But because my son has benefited from that program, and that program is very, very difficult to get in because it's under-resourced, it's underfunded, and it's
That's micropractice?
No, I agree.
It's under-resourced, Early Stimulation Program is a program, it's an initiative by the government that provides education intervention for persons with autism. Now, it is extremely underfunded. There are not enough schools per parish, per district, and the schools themselves, they are funded by non-government organizations and external contributions and stuff like that help them to function. However, what Mr. Mark Golden was saying is that we need to incentivize special needs teachers or special needs educators, incentivize them by having programs where they actually are able to go and pursue a career in this at universities at a reduced cost, or actually without them having to pay, or as when name again, Rasta. When name again, I can't mind. Damien is going to come here and I think he's going to speak about incentivizing teachers by by student loan forgiveness for however amount of years that they pay. Now, for the persons who are asking, how is the government going to pay for that? That is not the first time the government is doing something like this. The nursing program in Jamaica used to be something that is that was offered to students for free, and they would be bonded for a certain amount of years. It's the same thing as forgiveness per year that is work. It's the same thing, but only thing you're contractually obligated to work within the country for a specific period of time, basically working off and still being compensated for your services, working off your tuition that would have been given to you by the government. So if these, and what Mark Golin stated in that video or in that recording was that when you provide programs like this entices people to go into these professions. And if we get more teachers in this profession, we're going to have the availability to send these teachers all over. So this is not a quick fix. Autism, especially, is not something that can be fixed in 6 months or 1 year or even 5 years. This is something that programs have to be implemented for decades. You understand? It's going to take at least 5 to 6 years for you to actually see the benefits of these programs that are going to be implemented.
Tripple, can I ask you a question? You said your son will benefit from the program, right? Is it that the program has extended programs such as speech therapy, OT, and those kind of program, or is just basic?
My son only benefit from the basic, because when my son was referred to micro-practicing to get diagnosed, this is before he got fully diagnosed, he was referred to micro-practicing for a diagnosis. I went there, I think the February of the year, and the available date for him to be assessed by the doctor was the following year, October. So fortunately, I had the resources to go externally and get him diagnosed privately. You understand? And the diagnosis was extremely expensive. You understand? Especially for the average Jamaican, it would have been extreme. It was something that I have to pay for hearing privately, the hearing test privately, the visual acuity privately, the psychologist privately, the mental health diagnosis privately. So in all, I spent probably a little bit under like $1.2 million for all of the tests and everything that my son had to do. A little bit under 1.2 million. And the average Jamaican really and truly don't have the money to spend. You understand me I say? So that was outside of the school. What we benefited from was that my son was enrolled in the early stimulation plus school. So he could get special needs a teacher. So he didn't really need a shadow at school. You understand?
So what level of autism do your son have, if you don't mind?
To be honest, because my son they're querying whether he is on the spectrum fully, because he's not in Jamaica anymore. So when he went overseas, we had to redo all of the tests that were already done in Jamaica. You understand? We had to redo all about the good thing. Well, we don't never compare the American medical system to Jamaica, but you have to redo everything. So they are querying. They are still not, because the people know that autism diagnosis is not an exact science. They still don't know exactly where he is, but he's diagnosed with ADHD and a little bit of right, my brain moves slow, you know. So dyslexia, because
he's probably a level
high function. He's high functioning. Level 2. Yeah, level 1 or 2, but they haven't pinpointed exactly where he is. You understand? But he is actually high functioning.
Okay, so with the clip I hear Roger talking, I think that these the doctors in Jamaica need to be re-educated, because in nursing, in medicine, anything, you always have to be re-educated, because medicine is something to keep going. It's not like if you've been a doctor from 19 or long, educating. So what are they going to do about educating the doctors and nurses about certain sicknesses and illnesses and how to pick it up and how to differentiate the sicknesses?
I'll definitely remember that question. If we ever get back Dr. Dawes on the panel, we can definitely ask him to see if there's plan. or I'll go through the manifesto to see if there's anything that speaks to, you know, more seminars and workshops for the doctors to educate them on new things that's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, I will do that for sure. But as I said, guys, Gabby came today, and you know, for young people and for women, she used her own personal experience, you know, to say the People's National Party choose young people and choose women. She was the youngest senator to ever be appointed in Jamaica, youngest senator, and she was and a female. So you know, she used also her experience to reach out to young people and women to say the People's National Party is for you, and then Dr. Dawes uses his 5 minutes. And Raymond, Mr. Price was here and speak about the history of the party and all that the party have done. And, you know, it's really no comparison to the work they have done for the years they have been in power. And then Dr. Dawes uses 5 minutes to break down the transformation he wants to bring to the health system. It was amazingly done. Like anybody, if you're 5, you could understand the plan that he have for the healthcare system. I must apologize for Damien. Damien is coming from St. Mary, and the connection down there is so bad. Even when I was talking to him on the phone, he was going in and out. The only reason he wasn't here today. But I really want to hear more about education, and I know a lot of persons too want to deep dive in it more to hear what the plans are for education. If the People's National Party is supposed to take government. I hope a lot of you that came here today had your question answered. Ask the panelists that was here for a minute, you know, how they feel about today. And the next time we'll definitely reach out to some other candidate to see if they can be here to be a part of the discussion. So members of the panel who was here from the start of the live, you know, you could just go ahead and say to people that are just joining what you would have learned and information that you would have gotten so you can share with them. And I hear that Moya might be going up for councillor for a seat in next election. For a division, I'm not sure. I just heard that in the comment section. But guys on the panel, Teddy, JM, Rona, Roger, Karshan, Tripple, Moya. You know, could just go ahead as we close and just give your final statements.
I can go since.
Okay. Spicy. Who's gonna go first?
Go right, Jay.
Okay, Spicy. First I want to commend Dr. Dawes on his exceptional work he did here today. You know, he came and the people need clarity on a lot of things in the medical field and how we can see improvement in the medical field, and from what he brought to the table and how he broke things down, because basically what I got from it, you know, we can put it in a simple terms, you know, you have to tackle the sore from it young. You can't wait till it, basically it's gonna save you more and it's gonna cost less. It's gonna cost less. It's the same thing. So you know, reform I want to comment Dr. Dawes on that because he really gave us clarity on that. So big up to everybody that came out here. Don't know, just know that time come.
Next person.
Go because my background is noisy, so let me just say quickly thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being here, getting to know about the PNP's manifesto more and plans more. I appreciate Dr. Dawes for answering the questions because, like I said before, every politician or both parties can promise us better this, better that, but we are yet to hear how, and he broke down the how for us, so I appreciated that. But thank you guys for having me. I have to go now.
No problem. Thank you, Moya, for being here.
Maya, big up yourself. And I must appreciate Maya taking the time out of her day to come. The best thing, what I really appreciate about Maya is that she was respectful and mindful in every question that she asked. She listened attentively and she answered in kind. We need more discussions like this where persons can come on platforms and respect each other, and respect everybody, and just express themselves, because the truth of the matter, we don't have to agree, you understand, but the discussions need to be had, you understand. The good thing about it is that when you ask questions and ask the necessary questions, you can make an informed decision, you understand me? I say, and we need more persons like Moya who actually come and ask the hard questions. You understand? We don't want nobody if you ask them, even for your member of parliament, ask them the solid question. Then don't go friend them up on Ray, because the truth at the end of the day, we want better from them, and we want them to come to make the country better, because whether PNP or JLP, ask them the hard questions, hold them accountable for whatever promises that they have made, and ensure that we have oversight. What Raymond Price came and contributed was, he actually showed that how much him say, 11 trillion, that him say?
Yes.
I don't know if $11 trillion was generated throughout the last administration, and that money that was spent, it was generated, it wasn't made out of thin air, it was collected from our taxpayer, the taxes that we pay at the stores, off of our work, when we go license, ensure we carry them and the fitness, and when we bring in things from overseas, when we come at airport and the customs officer, them charge we for our laptop, them, our equipment, them, we are carried through in our bag them, and all of them things there, those are the funds that are generated. So for all of the persons asking where is the money coming from, it is the same $11 trillion for the persons who are saying, but JLP never do this with the money, them could have only do that. The PNP is saying that the money can be better spent, and once you have proper oversight and spend the money in the right way, everything that is proposed can be done with the same money that is already there. You understand? So yeah, that are my 2 cents. Big up on yourself, and thank you very much for having me.
Next person.
This is going to be my first and my last input, but nevertheless, may I say something still. But watch you now. I'm going to make my one as on point as possible, right? And this is what we want people to analyze. There's a suspect, yeah? And this suspect is underneath investigation for illicit enrichment. This suspect wants to strike out of the Constitution illicit enrichment. And Jamaican people will look upon the character of this suspect and want that yourself if you want this suspect to continue leading Jamaica. There are a lot of other problems there, but I think this particular problem is a very, very crucial problem that Jamaican people should not overlook or take for oversight. Here, everybody have them priority in a speech. Some people are water, some people are light, some people are road, some people are food. Everybody have them main priority where them have whole most important to them. But you see the leader of the country, yeah, there is a character we need to uphold to lead the country, and we don't want a leader who will lead the country in a fascism type of way, or even in a dictatorship country. We are living in a democratic country, and the law governs for everybody. You understand? Everybody governs the law. Everybody who is in Jamaica, whenever the parliament passes a law, down to even the prime minister must follow the law. And there is no way that previous people got charged and prosecuted for illicit or unexplained wealth, and now that it reaches your doorstep, you are trying to fight to remove that from out of the Constitution. I mean, that is way, way too much for me, and I think that the Jamaican people need to put somebody of integrity, transparency. Mark Golding has put forth proposal that I am holding to him word, making MPs statutory declaration public. You understand? Strengthening the Integrity Commission. You understand? The anti-corrupt agency. Also the spending of our money in Jamaica, because gone for too long now, we hear say one something will cost $300 million, reach a $1.4 billion. Them not even say make it cost $1.1 billion and them take the $300 million. Them give the lesser and take the greater. We're tired of that something there. And these funds where people come and constantly ask where PNP is going to get the money from. When we minimize, probably hardly enough we can eliminate corruption, but minimize it to the maximum capability, we will get more money to carry out these kind of plans that the People's National Party have to carry out. So bless up on yourself and have a good evening here. All right.
Thank you. Next person.
Spice, thank you for having me up here, even though I came in on the back end of the conversation. And I like how, what's his name, Dr.
Dawes.
Yes, how he responded to Maya. And my thing is, I'm not in Jamaica, and I wish that all of these promises both parties are putting forth. Why wait till September 3rd to start? Why don't you start them now so the people can see that the changes are going to come, that the people can trust you, that the people can believe in you? Why wait till September?
I guess with the current government is it. PNP wouldn't have a chance, like Dr. Dawes now wouldn't have a chance to do that because the Jamaica Labour Party have been in government for 9 years and they have been the Minister of Health. So Dr. Tufton has been the Minister of Health for 9 years. So he could only do what he was doing. Like there was no space into the doing for Dr. Dawes. Dr. Dawes don't have into hospital, so he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that authority. So Dr. Christopher Tufton have been running it his plan, and clearly it's not been working out for Jamaica so much because a lot of people are still complaining about the medical system. What the PNP can do now is just show to the Jamaica what their plans are if they were supposed to when they take government.
Okay, so my thing is just come to work together. If both parties work together, I think Jamaica will be better off, and we will see a better Jamaica coming forth. That's just my 2 cents.
Totally agree. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
JM.
Thank you so much, Spicy. I would have fell asleep. But I just want to say quickly, first of all, I'm throwing it out there. I am a youth. I am a young man living in Jamaica. I just want everyone to understand that Andrew Holness did not start every single thing that is happening in Jamaica today. He would have inherited years of Jamaican politics and infrastructural work that has been done throughout our country. So I understand a lot of times why Jamaicans today who really don't know much about where our country is coming from will say Andrew Holness is probably the best prime minister they've seen. Most of the things that Andrew Holness is doing are plans that he would have inherited, policies that he would have seen. The Andrew Holness-led administration is yet to implement a policy or a program that is to steer our country or help our youth like the PATH program have done, like JUTC has done, like the NHT is still very integral in our country today. Here's what I want Jamaicans and all the persons on here to also think about. In this election, on September 3rd, when you go to the polls, do not look at this election as a Andrew Holness versus Mark Golding, because that's not what it is. I want you to look at whether you want Dana Morris Dixon to still sit as your Minister of Education over a Damian Crawford, who has clearly stated plans that will enrich and lift our students. I want you to think about our health sector. God bless the people who have been affected by our terrible health system in Jamaica. Families who have sat on benches for hours without service, but we continue to hear how much billions of dollars are being invested in our hospitals, with a man now as minister who is not even a medical doctor. I'm happy you got to hear from a real professional, a man who understands the job and understands the charge. I want you to think deeply, Jamaicans, about what you're about to do when you go to the polls. It's not a popularity contest. We now believe in substance over hype. Young people aren't driven by clerks and foolishness and campaign songs and people running up and down and acting like children. We don't have time for that anymore. Yes, we believe that the Prime Minister has pushed the country to an extent, but we believe that there's a lot more that can be done and should have been done. Why should we choose Jamaica now after 9 years when you did not choose the people? Why are you telling us that poverty is at its lowest and unemployment is at its lowest when the Prime Minister himself said that he toured 23 constituencies and the biggest issues that people are having is joblessness, and telling himself that he's not understanding why? Jamaicans, think deeply. We need corruption to get out of our politics. That is why our country is not where it should be. That is why we're not experiencing true prosperity. So guys, think deeply about this. It's not about a market or a broker anymore. It is about thinking about our future, thinking about your children's future. The NHT has lost its purpose. Where has affordable housing gone? Where has affordable housing gone for young people? The PNP is presenting a $500,000 grant too. And not even just young people, for your 40 years and under, and you've been contributing. We're giving you that. We're making it easier for you. We're easing off the pressure. Again, we believe that the Prime Minister has done some good things for our country, but more can be done. And you cannot be compromised while being Prime Minister. We need the truth, we need accountability, and we need a fair and just Jamaica for all. That's all we're saying. Yes, we will choose Jamaica, but we will be choosing a better life with the People's National Party, led by Mark Jefferson Golden. Thank you, Spicy. The word is love.
Thank you, JM. And thank you guys for being here. It's TikTok Orange Conversation, the first season. We'll definitely have another one. Look out for it. If you're not following the page, go ahead and follow the page for the next TikTok Orange Conversation. I am hoping we are able to have a TikTok Green conversation. I have reached out. I have also reached out to have a youth debate with 3 members of the People's National Party Youth Organization and 3 members from the G2K organization. I've been successful with the G2K candidate, but I will try again. We're looking forward to having a youth debate where you can debate on the issues that will help our young people. So guys, follow the page. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for staying tuned.